What an absolute load of barnacles. I cannot believe my eyes. The Department of Justice and the FBI say that Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a client list and he did commit suicide. And now suddenly their findings are debunking the conspiracy theories. And what is absolutely baffling to me about this is that conspiracy theory, as far as I remember, the way things went down is the camera feed cut out and next thing you know, he's dead. And if we're going to use the word conspiracy theory, I'm going to put out my conspiracy theory. I would be willing to bet a handful of things. First off, the Trump administration, they said, oh, we're going to release the list. And I bet that same administration said to the people behind this, hey, you better find a way to make it so that the list does not exist. And that's probably what they're doing right now. The second thing is I swear I hope this doesn't happen, but I would not be surprised if the Department of Justice and the FBI come out and they say, hey, look, we got it on video. We found the video. This is the video. And I swear it better not be AI generated. That would be wild. Point being is that this is extremely irritating. In the same time span, we find out a load of barnacles about the P. Diddy case where the jury is having a very difficult time going through with all of the charges. And now the Department of Justice and the FBI are saying, oh, there is no client list. Oh, gee. I wonder why. Probably because so many of the Epstein client list or the guest list at the P. Diddy freak-offs were probably tons of notable rich people. And even if those people were involved in any which way, like they showed up and they had no idea what they were getting into, and then they saw something that was clearly illegal and they didn't step forward, they're going to jail, right? I don't know who's on the Epstein client list. I don't know who is at the P. Diddy freak-offs. But point being, there was probably a lot of really wealthy, notable people, and the world would probably fall apart if those lists came out. End of the day, this is really just sad. The only thing that anyone can ask for right now is justice for the victims, and it absolutely baffles me how so many people for this P. Diddy thing and the Epstein thing, they're coming forward and they're saying, hey, I was a victim. I really am flabbergasted, so I just wanted to talk about it. Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a client list, and he committed suicide. The Department of Justice and FBI say in findings that debunk conspiracy theories. The notorious sex predator Epstein didn't keep a supposed client list, and he was not murdered during his short stay in a Manhattan lockup. The investigation, the results of which were detailed in a memo obtained by Axios, which I'm going to look into, found no evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. The Trump administration plans to release a video to prove the agency's findings on Epstein's 2019 death, which bred amounts of conspiracy theories. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You could see it. I swear, if an AI-generated video is released. The video falls in line with the medical examiner's assessment post-mortem that Epstein committed suicide. The medical examiner's conclusions were contested by Epstein's surviving family, who turned to a forensic pathologist who determined that a homicide was far more probable based on the evidence. No one else involved in the Epstein case will face charges, according to the memo, beyond his associate, Maxwell, who is serving 20 years for child sex trafficking and other related crimes. Trump previously promised to release the apparently debunked client list during his re-election campaign. He asserted that he had never visited the notorious private island where scores of underage girls and young women were allegedly abused. But the president has said a lot of people did, whom he was willing to unmask. Back in February, the Department of Justice released Epstein's contact list as part of a long-awaited trove of documents connected to the notorious sex predator. Former New York governor, a ton of people, dear Lord, were on the high-profile contact list. But the hyped-up February release was planned by critics as containing little to no information about the Epstein's case. Okay, so Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008 for soliciting underage sex and was placed on the sex offenders list. He served just 13 months of an 18-month sentence in county jail, and an 18-month sentence is too little, where he only spent 1 day a week physically at the facility and the other 6 out on work release, which is like, dude, do you own the system or what? That is absolutely absurd that that was happening. In 2014, Virginia came out with accusations, and it opened the floodgates for other victims to speak out. When he was found dead in 2019, he was awaiting trial on a slew of sex trafficking charges. And then this is from Axios 15 hours ago. So the administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions, which what in the world does enhanced mean? Oh, the video is actually here. This is a 10-hour video. What in the world? Does it load? This is literally the quality of a toaster oven. That says it indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died. The video supports the medical examiner's findings that Epstein died by suicide, the 2-page memo claims. The findings represent the first time Trump's administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activity in his death. Theories that had been pushed by the FBI's top two officials before Trump appointed them to the bureau. The footage, which was reviewed by Axios but couldn't be verified independently, showed no one entering the area, the administration said. The FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. Investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. The Department of Justice and FBI say in the memo that no further disclosure of Epstein-related material would be appropriate or warranted. The memo says much of the material relates to child sex abuse, details of Epstein's victims, and information that would expose innocent individuals to allegations of wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials. We got the footage here, but is this even real? I would hope that this is not AI generated. Like, why was this sitting around for so long? It's literally been years. People are still talking about it. Is this just an attempt for people to just stop talking about it? Also, what in the world? Everyone in the world must be accessing this video right now because it is not loading. Oh, we got some action here. There's a guard. What's he doing? Let me see here. What time did Epstein death occur? 6:33 a.m. An alarm was pulled. Okay, let's try and access 6:33 a.m. Dear Lord, this is taking a long time. All right, so another thing that's been going on is the whole baloney with the P. Diddy case. Diddy jury to keep deliberating after reaching deadlock on most serious charge. The jurors in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs will keep deliberating after they reached a partial verdict, but found themselves unable to agree on the most serious charge faced by the hip-hop mogul. At the federal court in New York, the 12 jurors said that they had agreed on 4 of the 5 counts. Those verdicts have not been made public, but they were unable to decide on the racketeering charge, which carries a possible life prison term. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him, which is an absolute load of barnacles, which included 2 counts of sex trafficking and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, as well as the single count of racketeering. Deliberations will resume on Wednesday morning. Over the past 2 months, the jury has heard from 34 witnesses, including ex-girlfriends, former employees, and male escorts and federal agents. Point being, it begs the question, how are people not able to decide on this? It can be so frustrating seeing this stuff happen before our eyes, especially when you think about past cases like Casey Anthony, who has a social media profile right now. And if you look back on all the court videos and everything that happened, it's very clear that everything was there. They just weren't able to convince the jury, which is frustrating. At the end of the day, I just wanted to yap about this for a bit. The only thing I can hope for all this stuff is that the victims find justice. I can't imagine how much guts it takes to be reminded about abuse and being a victim to all these horrible things and coming forward before the entire world and saying, hey, this is what happened to me. That's a pretty horrible thing to do. It takes a lot of confidence and courage to do that. So you can only hope that these people find justice. But yeah, this is just a load of barnacles that all these rich people just seem to be like completely above the law. And I'm punching in my conspiracy theory now. If we find out that those videos from the Epstein prison show, oh, no one entered, no one left. If we find out that those videos are AI generated, that is gonna be wild. Anyways, yeah, my name is Andre, and that's about it.